Hello everybody, in this video tutorial I'm going to teach you guys how to disassemble and reassemble the IE 4x4x5. Now this does use the Ishin mechanism, so if you have an Ishin 4x4 or 5x5 it uses the same mechanism as this, so don't let these inner pieces confuse you. This is actually a little bit easier to assemble. Now it doesn't come with springs, so that's going to make it hard. But I found a way to counteract the way you're supposed to do it on the IE cube, or the Ishin cube. So to begin, rotate this layer halfway like this, and then you're going to want to pry out these pieces, just like that. And if you need to, you can use a flathead screwdriver, that works as well. Take this out, these out. And then after the entire cube just falls apart. Okay, now, if you're here to learn how to assemble the DIY version, don't put the stickers on yet. But any of you who bought it as a whole and already put the stickers on and you want to take it apart, you guys are going to have to put it back together in the solid position because there are annoying parity errors that can occur on this. But if you guys are assembling it in the DIY version, then you guys don't have to worry about it. So, you're going to want to sort these pieces out so that you can do this. Okay, now, the first pieces you want to sort out are, you should find 2 of these pieces, and these are what going to keep the inner layer in alignment. You're going to want to find 8 of these pieces, these center pieces, you know, the inner centers, and these inner edges. You're supposed to find 4 of these, and then, of course, the core. And one tip is, when you assemble this thing, you want to make sure the core arms are set very, very tight, but not overly tight. Just tight enough that it's not going to fall apart while you're doing this. Because, boy, this is a pain to assemble, I know. So, find all those pieces and I'll get back to you. Now, let's start with these pieces, because these are the big worries about this, if you can assemble these wrong. So, if you bought it in the DIY version, just put this in 2 random ones. But if you bought it in a whole version, here's what you're going to have to do. What you want to do is put it in one of them, doesn't matter what it is, and stick it up on that through these holes on the core. Now, make sure you know your color scheme, because this is going to be hard to know. And I'll just use this 2x2. I used the regular color scheme on this with blue as the 4x4 part of it. So, what you have to do now is, you need to know what is an opposite color on it. And the opposite for this is black. And black, that tells you black is a no-no. You do not want to put it in a black, or else you will get lockups. So find another color. And the other yellow also is not going to work. So we're going to use orange. That will work as well. So put it in that, and then you want to stick it onto the same side like this. Just right next to it in here. And now take the edge, and like I said, if you bought in the DIY version and you're assembling it, you don't have to worry about that. So there you go. You put that on. Now this next part is going to be a little bit tricky, and you really definitely need to have the core arms set pretty tight to do this. This time the layer needs to be very slightly misaligned so that it's easier to pop in pieces. And with the very tight tension that you put on it, it's going to keep it in there and not fall apart as easily. So what we're going to have to do is, on the top one here, we're going to have to pair these 2 up like this. And what we're going to have to do is, so what we'll have to do is we'll need to put those up and slide it in. And that may be a bit tricky. So just pair them up like this. Keep this up, put these together, and now very carefully guide it in just like that. And yeah, that may be a bit tough to do. So, but remember, very tight tensions, and we will be adjusting the tensions after it's assembled. Okay, I'm going to demonstrate this just one more time. Now, if you don't have to see that again, you know what it is, then you may ignore this part of the video, because you're just going to do the same thing here. So just very carefully move it over just a little bit, make sure the tensions are tight, and then slide it in just like that. This next part is going to be especially hard to do. So you're going to want to misalign it through the middle layer. And now what you're gonna want to do is since you put those two pieces in here, I recommend that you save the one that's on the opposite side for last, because it'll make it a little bit easier. So what you're gonna want to do is you pair them up like this, and then after you get them paired up, they should lock into place, and then you can slide it right in just like that. Okay, now the hard part is over. So let's get to it. Now, instead of stacking up corner sections, what you would do on the regular Ishin 4x4, we're actually going to do it in corner sections, which is going to make your life easier for this. And like I said, make sure your screws are set tight, but remember, not overly tight. Okay, now, we're going to do it one side at a time. So, for one side with these corners, you should find 4 of these. And now with these center pieces actually split apart like this. But you want to find 4 of these, and then you want to find 4 of these as well, and stick them together. And remember, this thing needs to be pointing down to the core. So this thing has to be pointing toward the core. And then as for these pieces, you should find 8 of these, but there's actually a mirror image version. So there's the left version and the right version. So you want to find 4 of each version of this. And remember, if you're putting it back together in the solid position, because you already put stickers on it, then you need to make sure you get the right ones for this. Okay, so we want to take one of the smaller inner pieces, a large inner piece, and you're going to want to stick it on, and then take the other one, and you want to stick it up, like this, just like that. And a good way to look at it is these pieces are like hooks that hook onto it like this. So that's how it goes. Just like that. And by the way, you also need to find these pieces. So find 8 more of these center pieces, and then you need to find these. And there are, again, a mirror image on this, and they all have to be on the left, like the thing that fits in maybe on the top or bottom. So find 4 of each of the mirror image. And then to point them down, they need to be pointing down just like this. That's all. So just find these and stick them together. Remember, make sure it's solved if you need to. Let's start. So put this on, and by the way, you need to find 4 of these smaller inner pieces, and those are these here are gonna be fitting them right there. So just make sure they're solid if you need to. So put that on there, and now you're gonna want to take this piece, and you can come in and do this part of it from the other direction if you want, but that's optional. So do it whatever way is most comfortable for you. Put the corner on like that. Okay, now what you're going to want to do is you want to put the center on. Put the other edge on. And now take this piece and put that on as well. Okay, now this next part may be a bit tough to do. Okay, so take the one of each pieces, one small, one large, and put the small one on top. Now take the other small, put it on this rotating part, and then rotate it in, just like that. Okay, now all you need to do is do that for 2 more corner sections, and I'll tell you what to do then. Okay, so to do this next part, alright, so this time we are going to have to take out this corner section, and one note is I would stay away from the corner section that has the pieces with those things in it, because that could interfere with it. But these 2 pieces, neither of these have those inner pieces, so what you want to do is you want to slide that one out, and then the rest come out easily. And it'll hold together because you remember you put everything else in. But anyway, so start stacking up all the pieces like this. So start to stack up all the pieces like that. Alright, and this may be a little bit hard to get this last one in, but you might want to do the edge last. Okay, now we want to very carefully with both hands. So now you're gonna want to rotate it so that you can bring this part of it up. And remember, do not overly tighten it, or else it's gonna make this hard. So rotate it up, and now we're gonna want to put these other pieces in. Yeah, don't make sure it is solved. Alright, now after you do that, you want to make sure they're all secure in, and then revert it back, and then that should be in, and you will have completed the first side. Okay, so start doing the other corner sections for it until you get to the last one, just like we did last time. And remember, stay away from these. This next part, you're going to want to rotate this away a little bit. Remember, stay away from those pieces. And then you want to rotate, just take out these two. You don't need to take out anything else. Now, put this back, and now what we're going to do now is put this piece in. Now this edge, and now this corner center. Okay, now all we got to do is put this edge in. Now the corner. Now, very carefully rotate it halfway like this, and now we're gonna put it in just the way we did. Just the way we took it out at the beginning. So, put the pieces together like this. Stick them in. Remember, do not overly put the tensions overly tight on it, because it'll make this thing really hard to put in. Alright, sorry about that. So I loosened the screw on the black side. And there we go. Okay, now, with the tension we have right now, it doesn't turn that great. So we're gonna have to pop off the caps to get to the screws. Now, to get to these screws, I actually found that since the inner layer stays in alignment, you could just simply right here, rotate it over and then get the screw in. But the first thing you want to worry about is these top screws. Now do not set it too loose, or else it's gonna fall apart. So yeah, you don't want that to happen. Just keep it down. So make sure it does turn well. Almost got it. So again, you just do the same thing on this side. Too loose there. Oh, there we go. Now we got that set, and now we gotta put these in. Ooh, that's really loose. Oh yeah, and it does do that a little bit. You know, that's what happens if you take off these top caps. So remember, do not do it. Never do it too loose. Make sure it's just loose enough that you are able to turn it well. Make sure it doesn't skip like that. Okay, so yeah, just play around with the screws. Make sure it's loose enough that you are able to turn it smoothly, but don't set it so loose that it's just going to explode on you. This is much better. It's not overly loose or anything, but it still turns very well, and it's not falling apart. So, this concludes the tutorial.